We welcome you in to the Small Ball Podcast alongside Trevor Mickulin. I'm Scott Ayers. We have producer Andy behind the scenes. But Trevor, it's another week and there's an empty seat next to me.
Well. Christian Dennis has missed another episode. And we have some new intel via Scott Ayers. Yeah. Scott, please share with the listeners.
Here reporting live on the scene. Scott Ayers here, a longtime reporter. But I went through our videos because probably the biggest drama on this podcast is who has missed more episodes, Trevor or Christian.
Mm-hmm.
So I went episode by episode, link after link. I'm clicking on the YouTube, giving our views one extra view. Thank you very much for your service, Scott. And it turns out, after today's episode, Christian will have missed more episodes than you.
Wow. What?
So he's now missed 8 episodes.
Wow.
You've missed 7.
Wow.
Yeah. And I had in front of me what episodes it was, but I don't have that. Yeah, that's on the work computer.
I don't think anyone really cares.
Leave
either.
work at home.
The thing is I think a lot of people have had recency bias with me missing shows. There was a stretch there recently where I missed a few, but Christian early on was
he was day to day.
He was day to day. He was Anthony Davis.
Missing
games left and right.
Yeah, he was. But he locked in late.
Sure.
And I think that's where some of the recency bias. So yeah. Christian, if you're listening to this, you've missed 8 games now. Trevor was 7, and I've just missed 1. I'm like Mike Conley.
Nice.
You like that?
I love that.
Had to connect to our king.
Our king.
And honestly, when Andy isn't at school, he's almost at every episode as well.
That's awesome, dude.
Great attendance from Andy.
Proud of you.
Thanks, man.
You're probably around 7 still, though.
Yeah.
You're probably still up there with us.
Yeah.
But recently, Andy has been locked in.
No, he's been locked and loaded.
Yeah. Very impressive stuff.
He's been Herbie fully loaded.
Oh, just get ready.
No.
Hey, what's that about? What do you mean get ready?
I got a couple trips lined up.
Oh, gosh.
So might be out of town for a little bit.
Oh, my gosh.
Just when we start praising you.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Golly, this stinks. The things you can do to try to find a good producer in these towns. No, but since you've been back, no episodes missed from Andy.
It's good stuff.
That's good stuff. Trevor, you had something prepared, though?
Yeah, well, hey, listen. We're a real podcast now. We're a TikTok podcast. We go through phases. A couple of months ago was maybe we were a YouTube podcast, cranking those out.
We were a YouTube podcast.
I mean, we've cracked the code on Reels, it feels like, getting more viewership, which feels good. We've prayed for days like these.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, we're getting a couple thousand views per reel, which, I mean, that's all we could ask for.
That's all we can ask for.
Now that we're getting these kind of views on Reels, I've considered quitting my job.
Really?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm just a Reels guy. I'm rich now.
Yeah, so for the 30 people listening to the show, because the long form, there's only about 30 listens. You guys are just going to be listening to us cranking out Instagram Reels for the next couple weeks. So prepare yourselves. It'll be fun. We'll kind of sprinkle in some real stuff from some we'll talk
Reels.
Ball. We'll talk.
There's real stuff.
REAL.
Yeah. There
and REEL.
Yeah.
But right now is the REEL segment, and we're going to be playing NBA's This or That.
Ooh.
The rules are simple. I'm going to give you something and something else, and Scott, you choose between the two and give a little explanation to why.
I'm not used to being the one who has to choose. Usually, I get to be the one who's asking.
You're on the hot seat, Scott.
I feel the heat.
Scott. The first This or That is Spurs Dynasty or the Warriors Dynasty.
Ooh, that's good, but I'll go Spurs Dynasty. Tim Duncan, Manu, Tony Parker and company, plus the greatest coach of all time. Give me the Spurs Dynasty.
Good answer. All right, here's a fun one. Birdman Mohawk or Jeremy Lin spiked hair?
Bias makes me want to say Jeremy Lin because I love Jeremy Lin, but there's something about the Birdman Mohawk that
Birdman.
I think it's because when you think of the Mohawk, you also, just in the peripherals, you also see the neck tattoos. Give me the Birdman.
Yeah, that's a good answer. All right, this one hits home. Jokic or Embiid?
Oh, my gosh. 10 times out of 10. Twice on Sunday. Every single moment that I'm awake and alive till my last dying breath, I'm taking Jokic.
I was not. Yeah, I was expecting that full-heartedly. Good one. All right. You mentioned his name earlier.
Ooh.
Popovich or Phil Jackson?
Whoa. Wow. That's tough.
Yeah.
Because Phil coached two of the greatest evers.
Yeah.
Two of the greatest ever. I said evers, ever.
That's all right.
Cut that out, Andy. Two of the greatest ever. I think I'm going to go with Pop, though. I think just what he's been able to utilize and his longevity now at this point, and we're going to see what he does with Wemby. I don't know when his last day of coaching is, so give me Coach Pop. But it's close. It's like neck and neck.
I like that. All right. Prime Clay or Jaylen Brown?
Oh, I mean, I guess it depends on the fit, but I'm going to take Prime Clay. Just his ability. What was it? He set the record for most points in a quarter, and he took like 3 dribbles the entire quarter, 5 dribbles. It was wait, was that against the Kings? That was against the Kings.
You don't need to remind me of that.
Oh, yeah, like Jaylen Brown can take over games, but not to the capacity of what Klay Thompson was able to do in his prime. Stinks that now after post-injury, it's a little less, but prime Klay Thompson was, I mean, he was unbelievable.
Yeah. All right. Pat Riley or Sam Presti? Sam Presti's the GM for the Thunder.
Where was he before OKC? Presti?
He's been in OKC even with KD, James Hart. He picked all those guys. Russ.
Wow. I'll say Pat Riley, just because we've actually seen championships won under Riley. That's not to say that we won't see it under Presti, but at the end of the day, you got to have the hardware. Riley's got the hardware, and Presti doesn't.
I respect that pick. I would have picked Presti. I just like him a lot. He's my favorite. All right, 2 more for you.
Ooh.
All right. Draymond punching Jordan Poole or Malice at the Palace?
Ooh. You could also do Draymond just kicking any player in the groin as well. And that'd be an answer. I think there's something about, you look back at Malice at the Palace, and there's nothing that really compares to then Ron Artest at the time, now obviously Meta World Peace.
I think it changed his name again to something like Panda.
Oh, well, respect the Panda. I want to respect Panda here, and I'm going to take Malice at the Palace.
Respect. Okay. Last one here. Staples Center or Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, so I feel like it's not even actually close, surprisingly. And the reason why is we actually don't see much winning done at Madison Square Garden. We see a lot of winning done at the Staples Center. A lot of classic games are played at the Staples Center. I think Madison Square Garden has more of this prestige, one, because it's a classic arena, but any movie in New York, they bring up the Knicks, you get Madison Square Garden, but what kind of winning's actually done in Madison Square Garden outside of a Pixar movie? Not much. That's what I'll say. Give me the Staples Center.
Good answer. That's all we got. This or that. First segment. Yep.
That was nice.
Yeah, that was
you
fun.
guys like my answers?
Yeah, that was legit.
Yeah,
I would have picked Madison Square Garden.
Would you?
I agreed with you on everyone except Sam Presti, Madison Square Garden, and that's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Good stuff.
I will say, though, it's now Crypto Arena, so.
Yeah. But
I'm glad you said Staple.
Yeah. I respect it too much.
Yeah, you can't call it. Calling it's blasphemy.
Yeah.
All these crypto companies, and now they're all going out of business.
Yeah, dude. Kind of crazy.
It's a sham.
It's a sham. It's a shame.
It's a sham. It's a shame. It's why they call me Dame.
Let's talk USA basketball.
USA basketball, yeah, FIBA. They released the roster recently with the headlines being Anthony Edwards and Paolo Banchero kind of being the headmen of this roster. I'll kind of go over the roster here.
They have Tyrese Halliburton, Brandon Ingram, probably being the guy with the most experience.
B.I., Austin Reeves, Bobby Portis, Walker Kessler, Cam Johnson,
McHale,
Jaren Jackson Jr., Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, and then the other guys that we've mentioned.
Yeah.
I think of USA rosters in the past. Maybe there's like an age limit or something on this team. But I look at that roster, and it's it's not particularly frightening, and maybe it's just because all those guys are young guys. Not to say they aren't stars or potential budding stars, but that lineup, if you're another country, doesn't scare you. Like if you saw LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony, it doesn't have the same type of buzz to it because none of those guys are the big names yet.
Yeah, I think you can look at the rosters in the past and see something similar where it's like they look like big names now, but at the time they were young, like we're seeing with these guys. Like I think in 4 years we're going to look down and see, oh my gosh, Halliburton and Anthony Edwards, and Mikal Bridges, Paolo. Like those guys I think have a trajectory to be really good. So, yes, it doesn't look as like, oh my gosh, the rosters in the past were way better. But I think that these guys are all going to be really good.
Yeah, stars. Yeah, it is interesting, though, because, and I'm not saying this team is better, but Canada, their roster, they have a couple of, they have SGA and Jamal Murray as their guards. They got Slow-Mo, Kyle Anderson, or no, not Kyle Anderson, Kyle Alexander. That's not Slow-Mo. But yeah, they have Lou Dort on that team, Dylan Brooks, and then they have serviceable big Kelly Olynyk and a couple other NBA players. Yeah. But I mean, Team Canada, that's a admirable opponent.
Yeah.
Because SGA proved that he's a top 10 player in the league.
Well, if you put SGA on USA's lineup, he's the best player.
Oh, he is 100%. He might be the best player. I don't know, like some of the other international. I don't know if like Giannis will play or Embiid or Luka. Yeah, if Luka's playing, then Luka's the best player in the tournament. But SGA is probably top 3 player in this.
Definitely.
Tournament.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too, just to talk through quickly, like some of the USA Select guys. Let me give you a few of them, and looking at the roster, I think that there's like multiple players that I would rather have from the select team put onto the USA roster. Starting with Cade Cunningham, who a couple days ago was like named the standout between both teams. Cade Cunningham was like the best player on the court. Wow. So Cade being there, you can even look at Jalen Duren. I mean, I respect Bobby Portis and Walker Kessler, but man, like Jalen Duren's legit. Not saying that those two aren't, but you also have players like Chet who probably aren't ready. Jalen Green, who I'm not super high on. Yep. Keegan Murray, a wing that would be better than I think a couple of the guys on the roster, like Austin Reeves.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
Reeves I think is, and there has to be an age thing because Jason Tatum's not on this roster.
Yeah.
Trae Young is not on the roster, which
Trae Young didn't make the cut. Is that accurate in saying, Andy?
I mean, I don't really know. I haven't like looked into it too much because I'm not tapped into FIBA like that. But,
the listeners can tell we are not either.
I mean, from what I know is that he was snubbed, or maybe he chose not to play. It's one of the two, but
it looks like a snubbing because Gilbert Arenas. Yeah. I googled Trae Young FIBA, and the first thing that pops up, Gilbert Arenas calls Steve Kerr's team USA sorry bleep group after neglecting Trae Young yet again. That doesn't really sound like Trae Young didn't want to.
Bro, which if that is true, that is just so ridiculous. Trae Young is such a talent. And listen, I'm not in the locker room, so I don't see his like personality and stuff. But from interviews and from what teammates say, Trae Young, given with his talent, he deserves to be on this team.
Yeah. And Trae Young even said in an interview on April 28th, I've been on USA teams in high school, blah, blah, and later goes on to say, God willing, I'll be on the team this year.
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous.
That usually when you're saying something like that, you want to be on the team.
Yeah. Come on, dude. Cam Johnson's on the team.
Yeah.
Respect to Cam. Respect to Austin Reeves.
Wait, yeah. Here's what I don't get. It can't be an age thing. Cam Johnson's like 42.
Yeah. 27. Same thing, though.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing. Cam Johnson is older than Jason Tatum. He's older than Trae Young.
Yeah.
I get you wanted a forward maybe, but.
Yeah, I don't know a ton of the USA stuff. It's so confusing because even Cade Cunningham, Why the heck is Josh Hart on the roster and Cade Cunningham is not?
Josh Hart's on the roster.
Dude,
this
what are they doing?
Probably a great segment for people who also don't really get FIBA.
Yeah.
Because then you can all get worked up together.
Yeah. We are all confused.
There's the one FIBA guy in the room who's like, well, actually, there's a reason for this.
A reason.
But for the rest of us, it's like, this is the dumbest thing ever. What? We want to be... there's the Toon Squad, and then who do the Toon Squad have to play against? The Monstars. We want to be the Monstars.
Yeah.
Why are we tossing Cam Johnson out there?
Yeah, I don't know.
Who's a good player, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But is he USA top 10 best USA player in the world good?
I'd rather have OKC's Jalen Williams. Santa.
I like that.
I'd rather have him. He's on the select team. Keegan Murray's on the select team. Those guys... Yeah.
Cade Cunningham. Maybe it's because of Cade's injury. They don't want to risk anything.
Bro. Yeah, maybe.
His shin.
But he's
boo-boo.
practicing with them. Anyways. USA. Go USA.
There's probably like valid reasons why all these guys aren't playing, and we're just sitting here fired up, pissed off.
It's way more fun to be uninformed. That's what I've learned about just the internet as a whole.
Yeah.
Way more fun to be angry and uninformed than like actually taking the time to read something like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's so true.
Being worked up and just
so
yelling
much
into a
fun.
microphone is awesome.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, it's so awesome. It's perfect.
Yeah.
What else can we be worked up about? Anthony Davis and Jaylen Brown, they signed two of the richest deals in NBA history, Trevor.
They did. They got paid.
Jaylen Brown, biggest contract in NBA history. Anthony Davis then got the biggest contract extension in NBA history. The question is, I mean, not all players are going to get paid, but players in Anthony Davis and Jaylen Brown's position where you're a better player on the team and you think, what do you do as a team? Is that the right choice to make? And you've made some points in the past, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think as the cap grows, you're going to see salaries increase. And as salaries increase, so does the max, so does when you need to re-sign a player, you're going to be able to pay him more. And when these players are entering into seasons where they are eligible for extensions or are possibly going to be free agents, as a team, I mean, the Lakers won a championship a couple years ago. For Boston, they've been contenders the last few years. You can't let players like that walk, and you don't necessarily want to trade them either right now. So you have to pay them what they're asking. So to me, I'm like, it's justified. And you know what? If you may counter with like trade them, well, get them under contract so that they're more valuable of a trade piece. As a team like Sacramento or Denver or Indiana, like these teams that a player wouldn't sign with, Jaylen Brown now is under contract for the next, 5 years.
Yeah. Way
more appealing. I'd be willing to give up more.
Yeah. No, I think there's elements to it. You look at, even when Denver signed MPJ, and they gave him like the max they could offer, I think it raised eyebrows, but it's hard to get guys like that in free agency. It's easier if you're Boston.
Yeah.
It's easier if you're the Lakers. My, I guess, retort to it is Anthony Davis hasn't played more than 56 games in the last 3 years.
True.
Jaylen Brown had a chance to be the guy when Tatum got hurt against an 8-seed, Trevor, an 8-seed Heat team who lost in the NBA Finals to the Denver Nuggets. And he couldn't. He couldn't be the guy. And you can't tell me that Celtics roster wasn't good enough without Tatum to beat the Heat. But Brown had a chance to be the guy. He couldn't get it done. AD's health, kind of a question because he's not getting younger. So that's where it comes to the other side of it. It's like, gosh, like it is a gamble because if you get tied up in that cap space, listen to these guys who are the top 5 biggest contracts in the NBA. Jaylen Brown, number 1. Jokic now number 2. Bradley Beal, number 3. And he's a perfect example of Washington paid Bradley Beal, had a chance to trade him, and different scenario than Boston, but had a chance to maybe go on a different direction. They pay him, and now it's like they were lost for a couple seasons. And then 4, Giannis, 5, Karl Anthony Towns. And it's like Giannis and Jokic, yeah, those guys should probably be paid the most in the NBA. The other 3, Oh, and Devin Booker's 5 as well.
And Cat's up there.
But Cat and Booker are tied at 5.
Yeah. Yeah. You bring up some good points. To me, I just come back to, man, it's hard not to pay those guys and just either let them walk or trade them right now.
Yeah.
I'm under the, like, you got to pay them and figure out what to do with them later.
Yeah, I think it's a fair argument either way. It's hard to know what's the right decision. I saw the Anthony Davis contract. It's probably what he's
getting paid $60+ a year. Crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And this is where my brain is small and I don't understand the numbers, but they just re-signed all these guys. I know that extension doesn't kick in yet, but like they have so much money on the book. I guess maybe it's like, well, we'll offload LeBron eventually and it'll be Anthony Davis's team.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's great for the rest of the West, I think.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, Anthony Davis, one of the best bigs in the league.
Yeah.
When healthy.
That's right.
He's always rolling his ankle. My favorite Anthony Davis moment is when he hurt his ankle without actually rolling it. He just jumps midair and,
and he
got
rolls
hurt
it
midair.
The air rolled it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's NBA contracts with small
I like
ball.
that. One more thing I got for you.
Whoa.
We're both going to do this, okay?
Okay.
Talking about bigs, all right? Anthony Davis.
Okay.
Let's do Mount Rushmore of NBA centers. So you get 4.
All time?
All time. Scott Ayers. All time.
I hate that. You're making me do this on the spot.
Scott, you're going to do great. Just look up centers top 10 and pick the top 4.
That's perfect. Who gets to go first?
I'll go first. We can pick the same guys if we want.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
we're not drafting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or yeah. So we'll each have our own.
Oh, okay. So we might overlap.
Yeah, I bet you we will on most of these guys.
Yeah.
So
You're going first?
yeah, I can go first.
Okay.
I got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I like that.
Yeah. Kareem has to make the
He has to.
the Rushmore top 4.
He has to. I'll start with a different name. I'll say Shaquille O'Neal.
Shaquille O'Neal.
One of the most dominant centers, if not the most dominant center
Yeah.
of all time.
Yep. I got Shaq on mine as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right back to you.
Wow. Okay. We'll go Wilt Chamberlain.
Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah.
I respect
So that's
that.
my number 2.
100 points.
I feel like that's worthy of being on a Mount Rushmore.
He doesn't make mine.
Oh, Trevor.
Give me Bill Russell, R.I.P. He has to make it. He's a winner. Champion. He has to make it. So I got 3 right now.
You already know who my 4th is going to be.
We'll say it at the same time whenever the 4th is there.
Gosh dang it. There's so much overlap. I'll also say Kareem.
Okay.
I was like, maybe I can be different. Wait, what is Tim Duncan? He's power forward?
Power forward.
Okay.
Bill Walton's still there?
Yeah, no, he's still there, but I want Kareem. I wanted to make sure Tim Duncan wasn't a center because Tim Duncan deserves to be on a Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
He's on my power forward Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. For my last pick, give me Omer Asik for the last one.
What?
Omer Asik. Remember him?
Omer Asik?
I think I'm saying his name wrong. He played
Omar
for the
Asik?
Pelicans.
Omar Asik.
You remember him? You don't remember him, do you? No. All right, fine. I'll pick Timothy Mozgov.
Oh, I remember him.
Yeah, Denver Nugget legend.
Speaking of Nugget legends.
Yeah. Let's both say our 4th.
At number 4, Nikola Jokic. Yeah, I mean, come on. Certified no doubter.
Certified.
Yeah.
Big boy.
He's our chunky boy.
Big body.
But I like that. That was on a whim, Mount
That was
Rushmore.
on a whim.
Wow.
And guess what? That's going to find its way on Instagram.
Instagram, here comes the video. That's perfect. Also, shout out Trevor's youth group.
Yeah. Shout out my youth group. I got told by a couple parents that their kids played in the car whenever they're in the car now. So shout out you guys.
Yeah,
love you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you guys have any connections to sponsorships, we need them bad. I'm trying to quit my job.
Gosh.
I'm trying to just post reels all day. Be like the Island Boys. Outside. Wait, pause. Pause. Minus the nasty stuff they did. But because they just posted reels for a while and they were famous for a second.
Yeah, that's going to be you.
That's going to be me. I'm just posting reels We them
awesome.
island boys.
Yeah.
Well, Trev, I think that does it.
That does it.
Andy, quick show. It was a quick show today, Andy.
Solid 25 minutes.
Wow.
That's an easy listen.
That's easy.
That's a commute.
That's a commute for the youth group.
That is.
And for my friend Maddie who lives in Boston.
Yeah, shout out,
Maddie. But before every show, we just give shout outs on the pod now. I feel like the 30 listeners who get to this point deserve a shout out.
Yeah. Well, I'm at it. Shout out Peter. I've never met him, but he DMs us.
Yes,
he's a Sacramento
Peter.
Kings guy.
Peter.
He joined the show one time, sent in a video.
Oh,
Peter.
thank you, Peter.
Yeah.
Well, shout out Peter.
Shout out Peter. Sacktown.
But yeah, before the show, every time Trevor and I are like, Andy, this is going to be a quick one. And then it turns into being like a 50-minute pod. Yeah. But this was efficient.
Yeah, this was good.
Yeah. Thanks for
really
not being
good.
here, Christian. All right. Well, for the great producer Andy and Trevor Maitland, I'm Scott Ayers. So we say so long for now. We will see you next week.
Bill Walton. Ha ha.